How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drew Estate Cigar Studios for episode 152 of How About That Cigar Live. And check out the new digs.
Oh,
I know, right?
what?
Yeah, a little bit of a new background. Still a work in progress, but
Yeah,
more
changes to come.
We were in here all day yesterday, pretty much working on the studio, and things are coming along.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah,
Dude.
it's only gonna get better from here. So we're excited about it. Thank you guys as always for watching live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and for you guys listening after the fact on the audio podcast. Thank you so much for listening when you drive down the road, when you work out, whatever it is you do when you listen to Cigar Podcasts. Thanks for making How About That Cigar a part of it. And again, we are here in the beautiful Drew Estate Cigar Studios. And let's remind you about the fantastic Barn Smoker program. And it is returning in 2022, bigger and better than ever before. The 2022 Barn Smoker program will consist of the following events: in Claremont, Florida, May 13th through the 15th, Strasburg, Pennsylvania, July 15th and 16th, Ellington, Connecticut, August 12th through the 14th, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, September 30th through October 1st, and the Big Savage Feast in Parker, Texas, October 21st and 22nd. On the Friday night before every Barn Smoker event, Drew Estate will host a DE25 exclusive pre-party where attendees will be the first to experience new cigar launches from Drew Estate. The DE25 exclusive pre-parties will allow Drew Estate to share the excitement of the 25-year milestone with more people in an intimate setting with fantastic food and incredible live entertainment. For more information about the 2022 Barn Smokers, including a full breakdown of the ticket tier prices and options, please visit barnsmoker.com. So it's been a crazy week,
dude.
Got the studio remodel well underway.
Yeah.
Sports wise, spring training is underway. Twins are doing pretty well in spring training. They look pretty good. The season for the Twins opens on April 7th. I believe it's a home game season opener for the Twins. The Wild have won 6 in a row. And we've been talking about it all season for hockey. The Wild don't, they either win 6 or they lose 6, or they win 8 or they lose 8. There's no win a game then lose 2, then win 2 and then lose 1. It's either it's a long streak of whichever it is, whether it's wins or losses. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Will Smith went crazy last night. I don't really know.
So sick
That's
of it.
all I put in my notes is Will Smith went crazy last night. I don't even know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I almost did the statistic for that for Numero de los Muertos.
Oh, well, the funny thing is, I didn't even want to watch the Oscars.
I wasn't even.
But we finished working in here, and I went inside, and my wife and I were working on tax stuff, and she had the Oscars on the TV in the background, and you can hear all of a sudden Chris Rock is talking, and then the picture's still there, and then the sound goes off for briefly, and then after the sound went off, the picture went black. And I thought something's wrong with the TV. And then a few seconds later, it comes back and everybody's got these awkward, uncomfortable looks on their faces. And we were sitting there thinking, what the hell just happened? So, yeah, that was, of course, as always happens in social media, the memosphere has gone absolutely apeshit over this whole thing that happened at the Oscars last night.
Oh, Ronnie, we need a new troll.
We do need it. Will you be our troll?
Please be our new troll.
Please be our new troll. And I want to remind everybody, actually, and I'm going to share my screen briefly here, because we want to talk about a raffle for a great cause that our friends over at Smoke and Tobacco, Matt and Nicole, are working together with a lot of great cigar companies, including the Fuentes and JC Newman and many other companies. And they're having a raffle to support the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation. And part of that raffle is that they have a ton of things that you guys can, basically, you can go and sign up for the raffle, and you can see it on your screen right now. and they're essentially their entry options for all these different price packages they have, and from so many different great cigar companies. And you guys can, sign up for this and check out the entry options. And all of it goes to, like I said, it goes to the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation, which is a foundation put together by the Newmans and the Fuentes that gives education opportunities. It gives medical care and schooling and so many other things to give back to these people who put their heart and soul and blood and sweat and tears into the cigar business. These people who, make these cigars that we love and enjoy every day.
Yep.
And it's an opportunity for us to give back to them. So please check that out. I believe we're going to put the link in the comments. We'll make sure that the link goes up at least a couple times during the show here, and get you guys more info about that. So let's get right into it. I think
we should.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's bring on our special guest of the evening on episode 152. And as always, special guests on How About That Cigar Live are brought to us by our friends at Corona Cigar Company. Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. You'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, president and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Jeff Borshowitz, believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please, without further ado, please put your hands together and welcome to episode 152 of How About That Cigar Live from LFD, Jon Carney. Jon, welcome back to How About That Cigar Live, brother. How are you?
I thought I was going to have to slap somebody to get a round of applause around here. And honestly, I mean, then it showed up. As soon as I raised my hands, it came up. No, I'm doing great, guys. I'm live from down the street from your guest sponsor, so it's even more appropriate than ever. I'm 2 miles down the street from downtown Corona, so I'm in my backyard here having a cigar. Had a busy day today. I had jury duty. That went pretty smoothly. I didn't actually have to be on a trial. We were almost one-on-one. We were talking off the air, almost went on a trial, and then about 1 minute before they let us in, some sort of a settlement or something happened. I'm sure probably what happened is the judge that we were supposed to be with was trying like repeat offenders essentially on like excessive DUIs, so felonies with driving type situations. I'm sure what happened was the lawyers were like, whoever it was, I'm going to assume it was a guy. And they were probably like, dude, if this goes in front of a jury, you're absolutely effed. So they were probably like, yeah, like you in front of the jury, they're going to convict you and you're going to get the full sentence, or you just say you're guilty and you take the sentence that the honorable judge was offering. So I think that's probably what went down was the jury's outside. They're about to put you away. But then after that today, I made my return to the Smoking Tobacco show for our announcement on. I hadn't been on in forever. I try to be on as much, but since my baby came, I haven't been on more than probably once in the last 5 months. But yeah, we announced. Appreciate you guys supporting that and mentioning that fundraiser there. So we went through all the prizes and announced that. So we're already halfway for what we did last year in just like 10 hours. So certainly exciting year, and we have a goal internally that we're looking to hit, but definitely a great cause. And it's something so unique to the cigar industry. And all the media is getting involved in it now, which has been great. And Matthew and Nicole really headed that up. But there's really nothing quite like that in terms of a fundraiser. It was one of the more successful fundraisers held last year outside of the Toast Across Americas for the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation. So it's been a great cause, and thank you guys for sharing that. But most of all, I'm happy I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm back on the show. It's been a while. I'm back.
I'm here,
and we're getting it done.
Well, and the thing that I didn't get to share before the show, as you were talking about jury duty, is I've served both times I've been called up.
Oh, so you've had to go the full distance.
I have.
Oh wow, you've been unlucky.
One time was a 1-day deal. It was like open and shut case. This woman called the cops on her ex-boyfriend and said that he was in the apartment with a gun. And when cops got there, there was nobody there, blah, blah, blah. And it's because he was 70 miles away, open and shut type of deal.
Yeah.
So that one was easy. The next one, not so easy. That was a 4-day.
Well, 4 days isn't that bad.
No, I know it can get much worse, but
I mean, at least you didn't get on the OJ trial or something.
That's a true story.
Well, some of the trials, I guess you want to try to avoid are like property disputes or like business disputes. So you have like some corporate stuff, class action things. So yeah. I had a friend of mine that was on one for like 5 months. It was crazy.
Holy cow.
And like some weeks he'd have to go in 5 days, and then other weeks it was in for like 1 or 2. And it was kind of like they found out, a day or so before what they were going to have to do. And yeah, it went on for like 5 months. It was crazy. And I was like, dude, every time I ran into him, like, I can't believe I'm like, hey, I go, last time I was in town, you weren't here or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I'm still on the jury duty. He's like, so my work schedule's all over the place. And I'm like, that's insanity. And they do compensate you, fortunately, I'm a salaried employee and, my company pays me while I'm there. But, if your company is not paying you for the jury duty, because they're not obligated to, especially at an extended period of time, I mean, the pay that you're getting for it, the compensation is not probably what your job is. It's got to be brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be brutal for some of these people. But no, it was a really positive process. I don't know if this was just an Orange County. This was the Orange County court, but it was a circuit court, the Ninth Circuit. So it was good. I mean, they were super positive. Everybody was really nice. Like, thank you so much for being here. We did the Pledge of Allegiance, which I thought was awesome. Yep. I hadn't done that for a long time. It was a great experience. They were super nice. And, I'd mentioned earlier on the show, I said my other experiences in court haven't been that friendly. So hopefully that stays on the jury duty side of things.
Well, I'm getting a little jealous because you guys are smoking. So
yeah,
it's time for me to light up my cigar tonight with the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust toast can.
Ooh, let's do it. When lighting your cigar, it is important to be patient, pay close attention to detail, and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit DunbartonCigars.com to learn more.
That was beautiful.
Aw.
There we go. And I fired up Oro Maduro.
So there's already one question here in the chat box here in the comments. What kind of what Crocs am I wearing? I'm wearing my American flag Crocs today. These are my outdoor Crocs.
Dope.
Outdoor Crocs.
Yep, and then my Crocs I had on earlier today were a pair of 50th anniversary Magic Kingdom Crocs from Disney World. Those are my indoor Crocs. And then to jury duty, I wore a pair of Cole Haans. Not Crocs.
Garrett's a Cole Haan guy. He's showing them off right now.
Dude, that's the exact sneaker I wore. Only it was cloth. Yeah, it was cloth. It was the cloth version. Exact same shoe.
Yeah,
great, man. Those things are comfortable.
Gosh, most comfortable shoe.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go and get myself some because
you gotta.
Everybody keeps talking about them. So
Cole Haan, like I can't
jump on the train.
I can't talk enough about Cole Haan.
It was excellent. I bought them like 3 days ago for a luau thing my wife and I did, and I wanted to go with black shoes, pink shorts, and a black Hawaiian shirt. So I ran into those. I was like, man, those look really nice. And then I wore them one night, and they were a little, I had a little bit breaking in to do one night. The next day, it was like they were broken in a day, and my foot adapted to it. Man, what a great pair of shoes.
So Yeah, Mike is saying, I bet I could make it to your house and crash the episode before it ends.
There's a $5 in it for you if you do.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say we should make that happen.
Yeah,
we could. He's not too far away, and if he shows up, I got a fire going in the backyard. I got a cigar with it. He knows how to already get into the back of the house, so you can see if he can make it happen.
all right.
What are you smoking, John?
So I lit up before the show. I lit up a 2000 number 3. This is the one that Lito smokes, the little box press Corona. It's from our 2000 series. It's now called the Cameroon Cabinet number 3, but it still has the 2000 series band on it. That's Lito's favorite smoke. But I brought this was just my after dinner smoke, because I had a quick bite to eat in between the announcing the products with Matt and Nicole to this. I brought the TA49. That's what I'm going to smoke tonight. I had a bunch of these with me in Mexico last week. We used these as some samples for a little special treat and samples for the TA members. And TA49. Yeah.
Nice.
So looking forward to this. This is this one here is San Andreas wrapper, and it has a Cameroon binder and Dominican binder filler. So it should be really good. And it's got like 5-6 years of age on it. So so I got a couple of these that were left over that I brought back from Mexico. So I'm gonna light one of these up tonight.
Awesome.
Dope.
So I want to jump in, and we're going to come back actually to the subject of the TAA in a minute. But I just kind of want to, as we jump in here, John, I want to give everybody, all our viewers and listeners, to have you give us an idea of, what the last year has been like for LFD as far as, sales, production, consumer engagement, that kind of thing. What kind of year have you guys had?
Yeah, I would say not just the last year, the last 2 years since really COVID started in March. I think one of the most challenging things about the last year and a half, 2 years has been one, the industry as a whole experienced significant growth, a booming growth. I'm not saying it's the same situation when we had the cigar boom in the 90s, but because this growth is almost bigger, and there's going to be some retraction, but it's going to maintain a certain high level. The biggest challenge for us the last year, and to kind of convey to consumers and retailers, is we're a small company. Brand recognition wise, we're huge, but we made a few million. We make a few million cigars a year, and that's what we make. We slowly increase that production year after year, and right before COVID had hit, we had a quite substantial expansion that really almost allowed us to double our production abilities. And we had that for about 2 months, and then the pandemic hit, and then the factory was closed. Now, I think the biggest misconception with the size of our company is that when the pandemic was slowing down, people started getting back to normal, that production was just back to normal and there weren't restrictions and curfews. I mean, there was big curfews in the Dominican Republic that lasted for much of the last 18 to 20 months. There was also labor shortages, which are still being experienced now. We're not, where did the people go? Who knows? Part of it was the increase in demand. People would jump around, but there's still shortages at every factory, even the largest ones. So I'd say the biggest thing for us is we were at partial capacity, and we still are. We're still at only 80%, which is 80% of that big growth we had, which is a really good thing. So you're going to start seeing products hit the market this month and last month and next month. So you'll start to see an improvement in availability in a lot of products. But when we were closed for 2 months, March, April, and most of May, and then you go back to 20-30% capacity, which is tiny. And we were fortunate in 2020 that we had a lot of cigars because of the expansion that we experienced right at the end of 2019. And it took about 3 years to do that. Because when you expand, you want to build from the base up, so you make sure you're creating the similar product as humanly possible and consistent as possible. Because you can easily grow and make a different product that's subpar or not as consistent, but that has its own challenges in it. But closed for 3 months and then at partial capacity for an entire year, 50% or below for all of 2020, 50% for most of 2021, and then ending 21 in the last quarter in September, October, November, essentially at about 80% where we're at now. You really didn't start to see, the influence of the increase in production until really March of this year. And of course, like every industry that's booming, when you can't make enough and it's the busiest time that you've ever experienced. They take a month off for the holidays, right? So deserved, but then you're closed for another month, so then it pushes you behind a little bit. So I'd say the biggest thing for us, sales were obviously great. We had 2.5 to 3 really great years, but we didn't experience a ton of growth because we were really playing from a flat standpoint, where we had this expansion, which allowed us to almost double our production, but then we were working at half capacity or less for most of that time. So we're really just starting to experience what a lot of the big companies experienced over the last 2 years, is that huge growth. Now there will be some retraction this year, but again, we're small. So we're going to have a big growth year this year. We already are. The quality has been maintained really well. Of course, there's always some challenges, a natural product, but I'm anticipating a really strong 2022, a really strong 23, and then in 2024 we'll get back to a little bit more standard growth of single-digit growth as the industry kind of corrects too. But that was the biggest challenge to portray to people and explain. They're like, oh, you're having this big boom. Why don't you have more cigars? Well, we're trying our best, but if we had 100 people working, now there's 50. So that was most of the year, and it takes time, months, until you see that. So I think that was the biggest challenge, the biggest thing that I run into, and the biggest thing I smile about. But for those that have been waiting and wondering what's going on, there are more cigars on the way, and I said this month and next month are going to be really big growth. We're really going to get back to a point where we're really only a month behind in the next few months, where we've been 5 months, 6 months, 7 months behind on production. We're really getting back to a point where we're going to be in about 2 months. New orders will be about 30 days out, which will be a nice place to be.
Now, as you guys, obviously with all of the restrictions and everything and dealing with those bumps, as you ramp back up to full capacity, are you running into any logistical stuff? So much of it is when you're at capacity and everybody's running on muscle memory, and you've got this well-oiled machine and you've had to dial it back. And now that you're ramping back up, are you guys running into any of those sticky cogs?
Well, the biggest challenge has been, as I said, now is labor. I said you have a core group of rollers that really stick around, that have been with you and are loyal. And then, then there's a group of rollers that want to jump around, whoever's paying the most. If the factory is experiencing massive growth, like most everybody has, they're going to jump to whoever's paying the most. Upfront bonuses were being paid. And then there's just people that aren't there anymore that used to be rollers. Who knows where they went? Maybe they jumped on an airplane and, came across the border and flew to New York or wherever they went. And there's just a shortage everywhere. So we started the biggest challenge in that has been finding people that aren't just traditionally rollers. There's people that want jobs, and this is something we talked a little bit before. And we always had a small little rolling school, but we really ramped that up over the last 6 months. So people that want jobs, that are looking to work, which is a lot of them, we can teach you how to roll a cigar. We can teach you that. It doesn't have to just be somebody who's, a generational thing. So we started a rolling school with our factory supervisor, who's a master roller. And we've been doing that for the last 6 months and had a lot of success with that. We just graduated a large group towards the end of the year, and they came back towards the beginning of the year, which was great. So I would say there's not a lot of hiccups or anything in regards to the production when things are going along well, as I said, because you keep that strong core group. Yeah. I would say probably half of our staff stuck around for the most part. And we were really filling that other half. And then you filled it with rollers who are looking for a great place to work, rollers that were looking for a job. We tend to pay slightly a little higher. So that's always a positive thing. And then the longevity and the reputation we have in the Dominican is a great thing. So we have high quality people that understand and respect what we're doing, and what the brand is built upon. So I'd say that hiccup was really the labor side of it, and that rolling school, which I think we'll get into that a little bit more because there's some stuff that we have to discuss cigar wise with that. That's fun. That was the biggest challenge, was ramping that up to a level of, we weren't just training people the LFD way. We were training people to make that hadn't really rolled cigars before. So to teach them how to do this skill, and at the same time teaching the methods and the processes and the kind of ethos of what LFD is based on.
Yeah, very nice.
Very cool.
So I want to go back to the cigar that you're smoking, or that you're going to be smoking, and talk a little bit about the TAA, because you just got back from Mexico, from the TAA gathering. So for consumers and retailers, people watching and listening to this, give us an idea of what the TAA is and what it means to a company like LFD, and how that in the end affects cigar consumers.
Yeah, so the TA is the Tobacconists Association of America, and this is an exclusive series project that we did in the 49th year. This past year was the 54th meeting, and we were in Cabo. It's a really unique organization. They've been around 54 years now, and it's not just your largest retailer. It's not only the top retailers for each brand. It does represent a significant portion of business for most of the especially on the brick and mortar level. But it's a unique organization because it's been around for so long, and it's a small group of really relationships on a personal one-on-one level. It's not just about product. It's not just about deals. It's really about that relationship. And for a large portion of the members, the associate members, which are the manufacturing side, and then the retail members, which are obviously the retailers, they've been around for a while. I mean, these are a lot of these are generational businesses, where there's kids that were, their parents were involved in it, or they're still involved, and it's being passed on to the next generation. But it's truly a brick and mortar driven organization, and it's special to meet with a small group face to face in an intimate environment like that, and share best practices, get ideas. Now, whether you take them and what you do with them is your own decision making. But it's a really special organization in that way. And from time to time, I get people that aren't members that talk trash about it, like, oh, the GAA, this and that. They're just being salty. It's not everybody's in it. They have a very transparent process of how to get in. It's on their website. If you're interested in getting involved in the process and you're a retailer, you can jump on their website at TAAexclusiveseries.com is one of them. It has links to everything there. But it's just a really unique group. And in a small business like the premium cigar industry, to have a small organization of multi-generational retailers that have been around for decades, being together is always a special thing. It really brings things back to the root of where the industry was, and then brings it to where the industry is going. So it's a truly special organization. We're proud to be a part of it, and it's always a benefit to everyone involved on a personal level, not just business. And as I said, it doesn't mean that we don't have great relationships or even better relationships with non-members. There's non-members that I have equally, if not better, relationships with. But it's just a really select group and a small association that you can get a bunch of like-minded people together.
Yeah.
When we've heard from several people that can't be trusted, that it's like the Illuminati, and it's a eyes wide shut type situation. But there's two shops in the Twin Cities that are TAA members, and they do a great job representing the TAA and getting that product out there. So I know that every year I appreciate the offering of the TAA. Can you talk at all about what the TAA does for the industry, as far as any monies that go to lobbying or helping to grow the industry?
Yeah, consumer education,
any of that,
anything like that.
Well, just this past year, the TAA, I'm on their advisory board, and this would be my last year. But just this past year, the TAA actually donated money towards the PCA for their efforts towards state regulatory efforts, state advocacy. The really big thing for me that TAA does is it's really brick and mortar focused, and what makes the industry stronger on a local level are brick and mortar retailers being strong and having a venue where they can discuss ideas, where they can be updated on a face-to-face basis of what's going on with the manufacturer, what's going on as an industry, and sharing those ideas. And there's always representation from other associations there. You know, the PCA director, Scott Pierce, was there this year. So that, you know, they're involved with a legislative update. So it involves them. It's the same things he talks about on, you know, on the Zoom calls and the meetings he has online, and the same thing they talk about the PCA show. So there's no Illuminati thing. There's no different message that's being explained to these groups. Like the reason I say that is like, oh, what's this sharing of information? There's no information that's not public that's being shared. And honestly, most of the information, discussions back and forth, is stuff that's already been talked about. So there's nothing new being discussed, and there's not some secret cigar information about the cigar industry out there. Trust me, everyone throws on display their good colors and bad colors, it seems like, online. So there's not some secret message. But I would say the biggest strength of that group is that it helps strengthen local brick and mortar stores, and puts them in a spot where they're associating and communicating with other brick and mortars around the country about best practices, and ways to run their business. And honestly, sometimes it's just nice to have, you know, to know that there's other people that have your back out there. You know, and I think that's the big thing of it. So it's great for those retailers to communicate with each other and be, hey, you know, these people do have my back. There's somebody else going through the same thing that I'm going through. There's a lot of successes and there's a lot of challenges. So that for me is the biggest thing that gets taken away with that in terms of advocacy. In terms about the consumer involvement and consumer education, the TA this past year brought on a public relations firm that you're going to start to see more information flowing out of the TAA, which would be nice. They've already started that. There's more educational information out there for retail outlets that they'll be taking advantage of this year, as well as utilizing the social media outlets as well as the websites. As I said, you can go on taaexclusive.com, and they've got all the details on exclusive series. And it's I said that public relations thing is going to be really nice. It's such a small organization. There's one person that is employed by it, and then it's a board of people that have other jobs. So to have somebody that's been brought in that can focus on information going out, I think, and it might not necessarily be blatantly noticeable to people, or maybe they think it should be different. You know, that's a different thing. But at least there's an effort being made to have an outflow of information, and I think you'll see an impact on that if you're looking closely.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of part of what ties into that, or sort of another piece of it, an extension of it, when you talked about the sharing of ideas and the common bonds and the togetherness piece of it, is the PCA trade show. And from what I understand, you guys are going to be back at the PCA trade show again this year in 2022.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, we will. We'll most certainly be there.
That's and we're super awesome. Yep. I mean, excited to hear about that.
We're also awesome.
We're also super awesome.
But we are excited.
I want to know how, because there's a lot of moving parts that go into getting a manufacturer, you know, an exhibit space on the floor and getting it all designed and set up and getting the people there to do the sales. And I know there's this absolute ton of moving parts that go into it. So tell us how the prep is going for the PCA show and what you guys are looking at for this year.
I'll tell you, with any type of trade show, especially a nonprofit organization like the PCA or TA or anything like that, or any nonprofit in any industry, it really comes down to money, man. You just throw money at it. I hate to say it, but it's like, oh, the moving parts. Yeah, it's the moving parts are real easy. There's tons of resources, like picking a booth space. You know, our challenge is, you know, we weren't there last year, so we didn't pick right the first, you know, we didn't get the first 6 months of booth space. We finalized everything in January. So yeah, there's a few different spots, but I think we're kind of a destination. But that was hey, this is a spot I want. How much does it cost? Okay, write the check. You know, we have a trade show booth that we've had for about the last 8-9 years. So that's been in storage in Las Vegas, and that's been you know, updated a little bit. Again, throw money at it. So most of these things are in this industry is throw money at it, which I think is one of the challenges, because it's really easy to do that. That's why, you know, the show, I think, got a little too big in terms of its setup. You know, I've always said we built a stadium tour for an arena crowd. So it was just like, hey, you know, I can make my booth an extra 3,000 square feet for 20 grand or whatever it is. So I think that's a challenge too, is the ease of that. But yeah, there are moving pieces. I said the logistics. There's people that handle the logistics. You know, there's trade show booth companies that handle the setup. But the challenging side of it is making sure everybody's on the same page. You know, what are we going to do here? What's going to go on with the product? When is everybody coming in? That becomes the hardest part on a human level, because the other side of it, like the actual coordination of the booth, of where you're going to put a sign up, that comes down to how much does it cost to do it, how much are you willing to spend, and how nice do you want it to look, and you know, with the available space that you have. So I'm not saying that part's not challenging, but at least it's a known value. The non-known side is preparation of product, how many people are going to be attending, and on terms of a retail side, the logistics of that are the more challenging side of it. Not the most work, but the more challenging, because you're working with unknowns, where on the other side you're working with known tiers of buying essentially, and and fundraising, which is essentially what the money's getting thrown at.
All right, hear me out. Carney at the PCA, where you set up like a basketball shoot, you set up the milk bottles you gotta hit down, something. I mean, that's gold. Come on.
Well, we already have the gourmet smoke sessions, which are going to be starting season 2 in May. We got some announcements on that coming soon. That's going to be a different concept than last year, and bigger, better. So that, that's time consuming in itself. But the whole PCA for me is a Carney's Carne. I mean, I go out and have steak every night. You have the fortunate enough to have dinner with me. We eat at good steakhouses, and so the whole thing is a Carney's Carne.
I get it.
So to add something else, and then people have done basketball and things like that. I really want to keep it simple on the floor, and then we'll get it complicated when we go to dinner.
Oh,
love it.
There you go.
Love it.
That's the best place to put the effort, is in the dinner. I mean, the trade show floor is great. Don't get me wrong.
Cigar ring toss.
Cigar ring.
That's brilliant.
I like that. That's good.
We could set up like a digger. You can set some diggers up, toss the rings around it.
Yes.
Oh man. So aside from the big events like the TAA gathering and the PCA trade show, there's also as things are really pretty much ramping up again when it comes to in-store events. So are you guys doing anything as it relates to in-store events this year, and how's that been going as you've been getting back into the groove of that?
Yeah, so we would have started some stuff earlier. I still have the season 1 finale of our gourmet smoke sessions to do. That's with Corona Cigar Company. We have a special cigar we're working on with them that should be done here soon. So it's most likely the season finale of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 of the gourmet smoke sessions are going to be pretty close. But for me personally, that's my main focus, is the gourmet smoke sessions. The season 2 this year is I think Mike's on his way. He just texted me. He's like, he goes, I'm coming. Don't shoot.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
I was just going to say, what is the over under that he gets pulled over on the way?
He is pretty close. It's probably, I think it's like 15 minutes. Yeah.
No.
So the gourmet smoke session for me in season 2 is going to be taking it to another level. It's going to be called the gourmet smoke session, the Flor Dominicana gourmet smoke session Tour del Mundo. It's Tour of the World. So every session will have 5 cigars that are blended from tobaccos in different parts of the world. There'll be a Dominican Puro. Oh, he's here. He made it.
Dope.
The dog's going nuts. So the Tour del Mundo will take off. That's all. He got a $5 for this, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you got a $5 for this.
Our friends from Cigar Hustler. Good to see you.
He's wearing no pants.
I expect nothing less. If he was wearing
Yeah,
pants,
have
I'd
a
be
seat.
disappointed.
I heard there'd be steaks, man. Where the
Well, I got
steaks?
pork. I did pork tonight. So the Tour del Mundo will pair its cigars with 5 different dishes that are curated from around the world too. So here we go. This is awesome. So we got the same haircut practically now too.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be my main focus for this year as we do that. And then my sales managers will be doing their own themed events around there too. But we're looking to do about 15 to 20 gourmet smoke sessions. That'll be a real focus with that, and those will be starting in May. But the grand finale of season 1 is going to happen first. But I said the whole event experience will be really different for us because I learned things that worked well last year and through COVID, and things that didn't work well. So I'm like. The signage and lighting, we're going to have different lighting and signage. It'll be like showing up at a premiere in a real function. So we're going to really elevate the in-store version of it. The virtual side of it will be a little bit different than in years past too. So a lot of great stuff going on.
Well, I love the fact that it's way outside the box. It's really innovative because most cigar events, you go to a shop and the local sales rep is there with a folding table and boxes of cigars and t-shirts and canned koozies and that kind of thing. This is way other level that you guys are doing, and I love that.
Well, and we've been doing that to an extent for many years. All this kind of started about 9-10 years ago as a concept called a Night in Santiago, where we did dinner and a cigar seminar, like a reverse journey of how a cigar got to you. And then the reason I started doing it is because I hated setting up a table and asking people, hey, what do you like to smoke? Nobody wants to be hassled. And there's some people that can sell stuff that way and it does well for them, but this wasn't about being a sales promotion. This is about building loyalty with the retailer, building loyalty with the brand. And I think if you give somebody a great experience and they participate, they get great value, everyone wins. The retailer, I win. LFD wins, the consumer wins. If everyone gets a good deal, the likelihood of somebody smoking your cigar longer is huge. And somebody buying 5 boxes of cigars because you're going to give them 27 ashtrays and this and that, that's great, but that's not loyalty. You're essentially buying them. And that was how the industry kind of churned into that. So I think you're going to see a lot of differences in events and experiences out on the road. You're not going to see anything at cars because I dare anybody to show up, cook, set up all the stuff to be set up, coordinated. I'm adding a wine pairing version of that this year too, so people will be able to buy wine from a sommelier that I have here locally in Orlando that's able to ship nationwide. So we're going to be adding wine pairings. So we're going to really take it to another level. So there's a lot of good stuff coming, and if anybody's trying to do something similar, we're going to double up on you and do it twice as nice.
Nice. And I just realized something too, that Mike can't hear what we're saying right now.
I was thinking about giving a microphone, but I don't know if that was true.
No, let's keep him in the dark.
Yeah. Well, he's in the chat. He's in the comments section there, so he can do some damage.
I'm gonna gaze into your eyes.
Yeah. What are you smoking?
It's an LFD.
He's smoking. He's smoking an LFD.
It's a TAA exclusive.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're going to see a lot of
I
change in the event programs that the companies does. I think that was one of the good things that's going to come out of this is people want it really, want real experiences. And you'll still have people set up at a table because that's the easy thing to do. It's logical. But I told my salespeople, I'm like, if you're going to do that, you might as well just not do the event. It's not worth your time. It's really just a way of getting an order into the retail shop, which is fine. But right now we're all backed up. So the last thing that you need is another incentive to get product in. You really need to be, building the brand and doing things that are enjoyable for you. And if it's enjoyable for you as a salesperson, it's going to be enjoyable for the retailer and the consumer. If you don't like doing it and you think it's annoying, then that's what the retail and consumer thinks too. They're just doing it because it's easy. And I know that people hate that because we talk about it all the time. Like I run into sales executives, I run into sales reps like, oh, all I do is stand here and set up a table and I got to beg these people to buy cigars. And why are you doing that? You're complaining to me about it. And why are you doing it? So that's what we decided to do is we're not going to do that.
Yeah. Most of our, seasoned cigars consumers, we have enough ashtrays and t-shirts and canned koozies and bottle openers and whatever other swag you can think.
Cheap cutters.
And not that thing isn't, that stuff is great for cigar consumers who are still kind of working their way into the hobby and the cigar culture and all that stuff. But I agree with you that creating an experience that keeps your brand memorable is I don't know. I just think it's more fun.
There's certainly a time and a place for those other things.
Absolutely.
After you've been in business for 28 years, like Lito and Inez have, the best way to represent their brand and what they've built is to represent it in the best fashion and in a really positive experience. I use another cigar company, for example. Padron's been around for 50 years. They're one of the most respected cigar companies out there. They're not standing there handing out cigars and begging people to smoke them. They're not saying, "Hey, what do you normally smoke? You'd like this Padron 6000." And then, that's just a different thing. Once you become established, people have I think our consumers have an expectation of us that's higher than being a sales pitch man when you walk in. I want them to experience the brand. I want them to experience food. I want them to experience what we do internally, and really the passion that Lito has for it and his wife have for it. This business was started to make great cigars and be an enjoyable experience and create a really positive lifestyle. And we want people to have the same experience when they have our cigars.
So I want to go back again to what we were talking about. And by the way, this bougie lighter that Garrett has, they don't give these lighters out at events. This is way too bougie for an event giveaway. The lighter Garrett has.
Yeah, but as far as swag is concerned, I do agree that a great lighter is good swag.
Yeah, if it's a good lighter, absolutely.
And because there's either the cheap lighters and cheap cutters, or there's the nice cutters and nice lighters.
Yeah.
But I'd rather see a company put their time and efforts into putting out a good product or a good party or get together than really getting some sick swag game.
Yeah.
I appreciate both, but I have my preference.
So I want to go back and talk about the rolling school, the school of rolling, the school of rock, the school.
So how the school of rolling came about was as we talked earlier, we started a rolling school. There was a shortage of rollers, so we were educating not just rollers that had experience, but people who were looking for jobs. And as we're in this big boom, there was a shortage of that. So there's a lot of people looking for jobs. So there's a lot of education with it. So we started making these 4 3/4 by 42 bundles in Connecticut, Habano, Sumatra. We have a Cameroon version of it too, but the ones we're focusing on are the Connecticut, Sumatra, and Habano. Those are the main ones that rolled. They started showing up in the office, and I'm like, "What's going on with these things? Are these coming from our rolling school?" So we internally were talking about a concept behind it, and at first we were like, "Hey, this is a really nice cigar, but it's unbanded. It has no branding towards it." And I was telling you guys earlier, my concept was how to move. I was just going to smoke them, and then there was tens of thousands of them. So, Lito and Ez and Tony and I, we all sat down, and what popped in my head was School of Rock. I was like, this is a rolling school. This is a school of rolling. So we put together a little logo, which we're going to be announcing this probably officially in the next few weeks, as soon as the packaging side of it's done. The bundles are packaged with the School of Rolling logo, but there is a little tabletop and humidor top packaging coming out. As soon as that gets officially in my hands, we'll announce that. So sometime in the next month, we'll be releasing the School of Rolling class of 2021. So these cigars were made from the future of LFD that just graduated in the class of 2021 towards the end of last year. And we'll start being in retail stores here in the next few months. And they're great little cigars. It's all LFD tobacco. They're not seconds. They are cigars that they started working on and graduated off them. And these are not the rejects. These are the ones that they finished that had the quality and consistency of it. So these are truly the cigars that the future rollers of LFD and now present rollers are working on. And we'll have subsequent releases as different sizes are made and different classes go through the rolling school. We'll have different releases of that, but those will come available as they graduate in. Yep.
Yeah,
Such a great idea.
I think it's a very cool idea, and we can attest because John was kind enough to send us some samples. These are good little cigars. And-
Imagine somebody that just joins the show right now and they see him sitting here and he's just smiling and giggling, not communicating. Like it's like I have a little parrot on my shoulder.
He's your
But
pet.
yeah, it's a cool concept, man. I'm glad you guys like it because that's when we sat and talked about it, like, wow, this is a great idea. This is what it is. It's very, black and white. It was the rolling school, and this is the school of rolling, and they made them in 2021. So this is the class of 2021. So he said there'll be more of them, and because we've always been doing this, it just never had that name behind it. And I think it's going to really give people the chance. And the price is right, man. They're like $3. MSRP. So
Yeah.
the price is nice on them, and it gives people a chance to grab something that's quick, a little bit smaller, and appreciates tobacco and experience something before it becomes, before it becomes a chisel. This person learned this, and now they're going to be making chisels, 700s, diggers. The sky's the limit with it. Andalusian bulls.
Yes.
The same people still make the bulls. It's the same 6 people that have been making them. So that hasn't changed too much.
Maybe I missed it, but are we keeping track of the sales of these cigars, and will sales of those cigars get filtered back into the school or what's is there any specifics with
it's not like it's more of a training program than a school. So it's not like the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation where there's where we're not like putting children in and educating them and so it's so they're getting paid while they're in this program for the cigars they're rolling and whatnot.
Got it.
So it won't siphon back into it in that regards any other way than the regular cigars we make would siphon back into it. So the goal is as they work through it and they graduate in, then they get to go in and start making the regular production cigars, which is where the real money's at in terms of rolling. So it won't siphon into it any other way than just normal revenue.
We did have an important question, and what is the daily protein intake? Sitting at the table there.
What are they saying?
Wouldn't you like to know? He takes it dry though, so it's really hard to judge.
Oh, he loves it dry.
He loves it dry. The question was protein intake.
Yeah.
So I at my highest when I'm at my peak, I consume about 200 to 225 to 250 grams of protein a day.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know how much.
I'm about 250 to 275.
Yeah. So
and of that, at least 120 of it per day is the dry.
Is a dry, yeah. So I don't do protein powder anymore. Mine's mostly with food. So if you've seen me recently, I'm running big. I weigh 290.
I saw some posts.
Yeah. I run 290 right now, and that's because most of the protein I'm getting is through food. So the calorie intake's so huge. I'm starting to go to a lean protein diet. So it'd be game meats and stuff, which I started before Mexico, and now it's just been a mess for the last 10 days.
He's been hiding from me.
Yeah. But when you're leaning it out and you're doing protein powder, the calorie content per gram of protein is super low. Yeah. But so probably about 500 grams of protein per day are getting consumed on this video.
Minimum.
Yikes.
Minimum.
Yeah.
And how many cans of Bang?
Well, I don't do caffeine at all.
Oh, okay.
So I don't do any caffeine. So I drink coffees, decaf. I maybe have one diet soda a month. That's all really I have for caffeine. You drinking Bang all the time?
Well, I'm Ghost now.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, Ghost. Ghost is a great product that anybody's doing any lifting. They make some really great BCA powders. They got something like Swedish fish flavor. They got the sour watermelon ones, delicious. They got Sour Patch Kids. But yeah, Ghost is real popular. But I don't do any caffeine.
And pre-gem.
Yeah.
We've been liking that Liquid Death water.
Oh, I love
Liquid Death water.
Our buddy Todd bought a bunch of it, and we brought it down to Indiana with us and had a bunch of it a couple weekends ago. And
Liquid Death water.
That stuff's really good.
Yeah, it's metal. It's like the metal. It's like the hard rock of water.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
they look like skeezed out beer cans.
100%.
But it's just water. Yeah. So you see a kid drinking it, you're like, who gave that kid a beer?
Even knowing what it is, every time I see it, I think it's beer. Every single time.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever arm wrestled?
No. No. Arm wrestling when you become an adult, unless you're doing it like professionally or something you do, can be really painful, man. Like right now, I got an elbow thing going on here. If I were to arm wrestle, it'd be sore. And then so it's
You're making
really
excuses already. I don't know.
You know what? You two arm wrestle. We'll see how your arms feel the next day.
I'm messing with you, bro.
All I'm saying.
No, I couldn't arm wrestle a 6-year-old and win, most likely.
But yeah, so that school of rolling thing is going to be is a fun project. And then the cool thing is going to be we've been working on a lot of projects the last few years, and we've been really limited to being able to release things, obviously, with the partial capacity. And I will say one thing that people have said, we haven't released new products in the last 2.5, 3 years, and that's because we've been focused on core items the most we can. So it's not like we're short on product, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of new things that have come out. So there has been a lot of good products and a lot of research and development and tweaking on things. So you can expect to see some new items this summer, and those are projects that have had several years in the making. So and we really focused on the ones that are the best projects. The LG line, it's been almost 7 years since that was released. Not the small batch, but the regular LG. That's supposedly going to be coming back sometime towards the end of this year. I've been smoking those test blends with Lido for the last 4 years. So we're really going to get to, put products out with the new products the way that we want to and we see fit. And then we'll get to relaunch some, seasonal lines like LG in a better way that put them into the right retail outlets and are managed appropriately. That will really have big impacts on the brand. So, I think the big thing of coming out of this big boom and coming out of challenging times is what did you learn from it? And did you look back at things you were doing really well? And if you keep doing the same things you were doing prior, it's going to be really challenging. Innovation's got to be important. The products have got to be laser focused, and then how they're distributed, especially for a company our size, how they're distributed is going to be vitally important too.
Yeah. So is it time?
I think it is.
All right. It is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, Numero de los Muertos is brought to us by our
If you do it, it's going to feel like a mess it up. I know it's gonna.
All right, Numero de los Muertos,
Down,
episode
down,
152. Garrett, what do you have for us this week?
All right, guys. Here's what I got. Can you hear us now, Mike?
Is it protein powder?
No, he still can't hear us. Okay.
No, he can't hear us, but I'll let him know on the death thing.
All right.
Is it protein powder?
It's not protein
Okay.
powder. All right. 189,000 people a year die from this globally.
Oh, big number.
189,000 people a year die from this globally. Yeah,
That's
we got to guess what it is.
Big number.
189,000.
I feel like I've always been somewhat in the ballpark on this game.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Is it workplace? Is it a workplace accident?
No, it is not.
Okay. Skip's got a good one there. It's not workplace. How many questions do I get to ask?
Any?
Yeah. Yes or no questions.
All right, not workplace related. Is it in the home?
It is not in the home.
So not in the workplace, not in the home.
Are
And it's-
vehicles
and it's not-
involved?
Pandemic related, correct?
No.
And the next question was: there vehicles involved?
No vehicles.
No vehicles.
No vehicles. No mode of transportation.
Not
No.
in the car.
Bar stool upside down. That's special. It is not that. It is not
That's
a
a good question. Is it
disease.
disease?
It is not a disease.
No, it's usually not. It's usually not.
Does it happen on land or water?
land.
Land.
Does it have to do with barbecue?
Does it have to do with food?
No.
Okay. Is it in the gym?
Does it happen in the gym?
No.
Asbestos is a good guess.
It is a good
That
guess.
is pretty good.
It is not
Yeah.
asbestos.
Skip watching the show just for Dallas.
So it's all right. So is it gender specific? Is
It
it
is
more? Okay.
It's not genders. No home, no workplace.
And it's
no
not. You said it's not a disease, right?
Correct.
Not a. Okay.
Does it happen while using an electronic device?
It can.
Yeah.
But that's going to probably throw you off the trail, to be honest.
Is it direct? Is it directly related to any type of military conflict?
No.
Is it weather related?
Oh,
It is. That
great
is a
question.
great question. It is
Autoerotic
not.
disease.
Wow. Both
Let's
of those guys.
Skip turned that into the most popular answer.
Yeah.
But we already did that one.
That was so 2020, guys.
That was so 2020.
Paper cuts. Wow.
I mean,
wonder
I would.
if there's a stat there.
Is it arm wrestling?
It is not arm wrestling.
Is it related in any way to a recreational activity?
It is definitely not.
So it's not a workplace accident. It's not a recreational activity.
It doesn't happen in the home.
No vehicles are involved.
Mm-mm.
What the hell? It's not a disease. It's a big number. It's
Is it the
189,000.
LFD School of Rolling?
Yes.
Yes.
We've had no deaths.
We've
No
had
deaths at the
unfortunately.
LFD
Yeah, that's
School of
confirmed.
Rolling.
No deaths.
189,000.
Not for voting for senile leaders. Not cooking
Cooking
related.
related.
Yeah, but that's in
It
the
is not
house.
cooking.
Knife
not,
wounds.
Not
Is it
knife
camping?
wounds. Not natural causes.
Not
Are
camping.
firearms involved?
Firearms are not involved.
Are there animals involved?
Not animal involvement.
There aren't.
What the hell?
What the fuck?
This is brutal.
Well, you got to
This
figure
is
that
the
there's
toughest
one I
16
can
billion
remember in a
people
long
the
time.
world, and 189,000 people of that die. That's not a big number.
Man, I feel like I asked like 3 questions the last time, and I like boom nailed it.
I know.
Yeah, I think you got it right away last time. What the hell? This is.
Yeah. No
a low
animals. So
number.
no bears.
Is there any?
1%.
Is there another like kernel you can?
It is medically.
Roll.
It is in the medical arena.
But it's not a disease.
Correct.
All right, and it's not consuming anything, correct?
Correct.
It's not a consumption of something.
Correct.
Because I was
Is
going
it
to say
the-
consuming. I was going to say water.
We said it could happen with electronics. That's the only hint that we have.
Is it related to the?
Are the electronics plugged in or are they battery operated?
They're plugged in.
Plugged in.
Plugged in.
Is it related to hospitals?
Yes.
So what's plugged in that's not in your workplace, not in your home?
It is. related
I'm
to-
going to say. Once I guess, am I done?
Once.
technically?
No.
Well, no. Once we get it, we don't stop till we get the right answer.
You guys.
Electric.
We've
So
got
I'm
a-
gonna.
We've got the correct answer.
Who put it?
All right.
in
So
the
I haven't
comments?
seen it, but I'm gonna say when 189,000 people in a hospital could be an electric issue.
In a hospital.
And it could be, yeah. So I'm going to say 189,000 people die from electrocution in a hospital.
So the correct answer is on the operating table. 189,000 people die on the operating table.
189,000 people die on the operating table.
Wow. For any type of.
For any
That was
time
very basic.
from minor to major, but the mass majority of those are during ablations and
Ablations.
laparoscopic surgery. And I have the. So it was
That's
shocking.
depressing.
It was shocking to me. The country that is most at fault now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 countries that make up most of this. Some of these aren't surprises, others are. The biggest offender is Tajikistan, and these countries are known to have good medical care. So for the countries that are considered to have good medical care, Tajikistan is the number one offender. Then it is South Korea, Democratic People's Republic, Dominican Republic. Then it's Panama, New Zealand, Italy, and Japan. So Japan is the worst, is the best of the worst.
South Korea and Japan are really surprising to me.
Right?
I
Yeah,
would
that is-
never have any of those procedures done in the other 3 places you mentioned. Wouldn't
Yeah,
even be-
right.
I'm afraid to be treated with like a cut.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like if you said, "Oh, the Dominican Republic, let's go get an ablation down there."
Japan is a surprise.
Like Japan's a shock. I mean, that's a world power.
Yeah. that's-
100%.
That is
You know,
very
and South
surprising.
Korea's got all the technology on the planet. Interesting. It'd be an interesting to read into.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was this week's
Numero
de los Muertos. All right, so let's jump into the lightning round. And the lightning round is brought to us by our friends at J.C. Newman Cigar Company. They are America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and the American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 112-year-old El Reloj factory
Lightning round.
in historic Cigar City of Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or their visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com and make sure to go to howaboutthatcigar.com. Click on the button on the right-hand side of your screen, right on this same ad that you see now, and it'll give you all the information that you need about the JC Newman visitor experience. So, lightning round, you've been on a couple times, John, so you're going to get some fresh lightning round questions. So,
I'm ready for you guys.
if you were suddenly a billionaire, what would be the first unnecessary thing? I mean, after you hired the tax attorney and did all the responsible stuff, what would be the first unnecessary thing you would spend money on?
Oh man, I'd probably rent out something I'm not supposed to be renting out, like an entire theme park for myself. Yeah, like that's what I'd do. Something that I like doing or I've kind of enjoyed that's been ruined for me. I would rent the entire thing and be able to do it on my own.
Ruined.
Yeah. So like,
ruined by
like-
by other people.
yeah. You know, over a long period of time. So like, yeah, renting a facility out like that. Like I'd go to like Disney and be like, here's $10 million. I want the Magic Kingdom for the day.
Nice. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
But
So
definitely something like that.
let's say the zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are the 3 cigar industry people that you want on your team to fight against the zombie horde?
The zombie apocalypse comes. Who do I want in the cigar industry on my team? I would go number one. I'd go with Lito number one. He's a scrapper. He would find a way. I'd go with him. Second, I'd take Christian Aroa. He's got a private jet.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
His family. I got a train going by here real quick. 1 second.
Everything's normal.
The train. It's train time. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'm
So
going to
Christian's
relight
got a private jet. His company's been based out of Honduras, which is the most challenging, except recently with Nicaragua, the most challenging of the 3 major cigar countries we smoke here. So he's dealing with a lot of crap. And then I'm gonna pick one on the left field here. I'm taking John D. Oliver
Great move.
Oh,
Great move.
from Roma Craft, because that man has one of the largest arsenals that I've ever seen.
Really?
And he's a big man, and he'd fight to the death.
He's large.
And he's a large dude, and that's a really out of left
Yeah.
field one.
I love it.
Yeah,
didn't know about his
literally,
arsenal.
I'm going above any other cigar celebrities or anything. I'd take those 2. Private jet. Lito's a scrapper. He's
And-
been
And
brought
the
up.
armed guard.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you got John, and I think John. If anyone does this without picking John, Like if someone was to come up and either pick you or I because we're big dudes, I'd be like, "You're an idiot. You picked the big dude with the big guns."
With the guns,
Big guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm taking John D. Oliver number 3, and he might be the most important out of all of them, other than the transportation side.
Yeah.
Love it.
Absolutely. All right. So let's say you're at a cigar club one night and it's karaoke night and you are forced to get up and sing a song. What's the one song you pick?
That's tough. That's tough. The only thing that's coming to mind is Will Smith's songs. It's all I've talked about all day.
What are you talking about? This is an easy
Yeah, I
question.
know.
You go Bon Jovi.
Living on a prayer.
It's a classic. You get everybody going.
Yeah, I'd probably forced up on stage. Bon Jovi's good. I'd probably do a Will Smith song right now. It's the only thing I get in my head. So it's the lightning round. I'm not supposed to be answering what I would actually do. I'm overthinking it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick any Will Smith song right now because I can't get that stuff out of my head today.
Getting slappy with it.
Getting slappy with it. Oh, I love it. All right, so let's jump into notable smokables for this week. And notable smokables on How About That Cigar Live are brought to us by our friends at Ace Prime. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. So John, you remember each week we name a cigar that we smoked recently that was interesting to us. It could be a cigar that's been on the market forever and we just had for the first time in a long time, or something we tried for the first time ever. So obviously you're smoking mostly LFD, but when you get a chance to jump outside of the LFD portfolio, what is something you've had recently that caught your interest?
This is the perfect question because I, on last Wednesday, smoked the Asylum April Fools, the 9x90.
Not.
I did, and I got a picture, and I'll show you. I'll pull it up here. I smoked the 9x90, and so I went up to Christian and Tom. I was like, "Hey guys, I never asked for anything." I was like, "Can you save me one of those cigars?" And Tom's like, "I'll give it to you right now." He's like, "If you light it up," and I'm like, "Absolutely."
Here it is.
Oops.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Wow.
I smoked it for 5.5 hours.
Did you
all
make
the way down to about the last inch? Yeah. You know, the thing was, it was a really good cigar. The tobacco was great. It wasn't sour, anything like that. It tasted fantastic. The draw on it was good. The only problem is this is something we take for granted and we complain about of different size of better smoking experience. A 9x90 is a really challenging smoking experience. Like I was smoking it with in my fingers like this at first, and I accidentally flung it because it was so big. So I smoked it the entire time with almost all 5 fingers on the cigar to hold it in place, and it was mostly 4 fingers, even when it was halfway. So it was the smoking experience, not because of the actual flavor, but managing something that big for that extended period of time. It was just a lot of work. But it was good, man. It was good. I was pleasantly surprised. It was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah. So there you go, guys. Top that one.
I can't top that, but I will ask Garrett what his notable was.
Today I had the JSK Tyrannical Buck Barber Pole.
Oh yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, I had one of those. That's weird. I had one of those today too.
Did you?
When we had a meeting earlier with some media folks, and I had one of those during that. But my notable this week was actually, when was it? We were at Sodi's. Was that
Saturday night.
Saturday night. The Ashton rep was in town, and he had cigars he was handing out to some of the guys there, and handing out to employees. And Garrett and I aren't really employees. I mean, we are, but we're like the last resort guys. If they can't find somebody to work on some random Sunday, they're like, "Hey, call Matt or Garrett and we'll see if they're," and yeah, so we go in and work. And so the Ashton rep was there, and it had been a while since I'd had an Ashton cabinet. So I said, "Yeah, thanks. I'll take one of those," and smoked it the next day here in the studio, and forgot what a nice cigar that is. Nice mild cigar.
I love that. So
it's been a while since I had one of those. But yeah, I cannot. One of these days I may try a big cigar like that, like the 9x90. But
Well, a good question by our guy Mark. How many relights on that, John?
oh, that is a good question.
So I only relit it once, and I was smoking it during the TAA mini trade show they have going on. So there's a lot going on I was carrying around, but I only relit it once and only had one touch up. And that was only
Wow.
because the only time I did is because I flung it. It went out of my hand and it bounced around. It even had a little crack and it corrected itself. I was really impressed with it. I would smoke it again. I'm not going to go out of my way to do it because it was definitely a task.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was, yeah, it was. It wasn't just the commitment, man. It was just a lot to. I said it was just a lot to handle. I know people are joking around about it, but it literally was a lot to manage.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was a challenge.
Can't write this.
So let's give our viewers and listeners an idea of some cool stuff we have coming up. So we're going to be in April before we know it. So in the month of April, on April 4th, we have Ashley from the Big Ashes Cigar Club. And then on the 11th of April, we have Terrence Riley from Aganorsa Leaf. On April 18th, we have Jay Davis from Blue Smoke of Dallas and also a member of the PCA board. And closing out April on the 25th, we have Fred Rui from Illusione Cigars. So make sure to stay tuned for that. So John, give our viewers and listeners a final plug. Where's the best place for them to keep up with all the best stuff from LFD Cigars?
Yeah, so always I got new things weekly on my social media, LFD Carney on all the social media outlets. Keep your eyes peeled. I said the next month in April is going to be an announcement of a lot of different things coming up. You know, we said we got the Gourmet Smoke Sessions Tour del Mundo Season 2 starting in May, Season 1 finale coming up April and May as well. So there's a lot of exciting things with that. But our social media is the best place to follow us, LFD Carney and then LFD Cigars. That's the best spot. That's where we always release everything first. You know, Tony manages our whole Instagram feed. He does a great job with photos of current products, new products. We've been posting up some of our astronomy ashtrays recently. There's a new batch of those coming in the next few weeks in a different color. So keep peeled on that. But it's going to be a really exciting 6 months for us. I mean, we've been spending the last 2.5 years playing catch up, staying as caught up as we can. And, you know, kind of the chains have come off a little bit, and we're going to be able to do some of the projects and go forward from building off of what we've done the last year is said the best we could, keeping up with that. So I'm excited for the next 6 months. I'm excited for the summer to be back at PCA. I think it's going to be a big show there. That's the next big thing industry wise and for us. So we're excited about that. But yeah, man, it's been a busy 2.5 years in terms of managing expectations. I think we've done a great job internally at it. Some people may not think so on the outside, but I get to see inside and out. And we've done a fantastic job, you know, the Lido with production and managing through the most challenging time that we've ever experienced. At the same time, the industry having the growth that it had, there was a lot of things learned and a lot of great things that are going to come out because of it. So I said, we're real excited.
Very cool. And we have to also thank our, extra surprise guests.
Yeah.
Cigar Hustler Mike for being on the show.
Are any of you able to pronounce his last name? Because I can.
I think I can. I think I've been working on it. I've been working on it over the years.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a shot at it.
All right, I got to think about it for a second. Mike Shepenkevich.
Mike Shepenkevich.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I know it's not spot on, but it's I've been working on it for a couple of years.
Shepenkevich.
Yeah.
Is it Sezbenkevich?
It's Shepenkevich.
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 Yeah.
Okay. I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah, I worked hard. I gotta make it. I have a challenge that sometimes I put an N in there by mistake that doesn't exist, so I have to remind myself that it has all letters of the alphabet except N.
Yeah, well, it's in there.
It's a silent N. They took it out.
It's very quiet.
Well, and
it's great having on it. It's good to know I'm gonna have a buddy out here tonight to finish my cigars off with too. So that worked out really well.
Yeah,
dude, so good at PCA this next year. I want to walk around a couple booths with Mike and do a contest to see who can get Mike's last name.
Absolutely.
You've got to film it. It's like they did that
Yeah.
with city names and town names up in
Yes.
up in Massachusetts. You're gonna go around, have it on a card, and like say this word with his last name. It'd be an absolute riot. A great segment.
Yeah.
I would.
no,
Yeah, we will definitely.
we are going to do that.
Yep.
So Mike, you're whether you like it or not, you're roped into that at PCA this year.
He's committed.
Yeah. All right, John, thank you again so much for being on episode 152. We always love having you on the show, brother, and can't wait to see you at PCA.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. I'll tell you, it was one of the things I was jealous of my good friend Matthew Tobacco was the amount of time you all got to spend together over the show last summer and then the TPE. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with you guys there. And if it goes well, we might have to go out and get steak too. So we'll see what happens.
Hey,
Ooh.
we are down. If you're down, we're down. So
Absolutely.
So just let us know. We will be there with bells on. Absolutely.
And hang on for a minute after the show closes to say a proper goodbye.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
So viewers and listeners, guys, again, as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you're on Facebook, make sure to like the page. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the page. And if you're listening on the audio podcast, thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on all social media at HBT Cigar. If you guys have questions for Garrett or myself, you can email us on howaboutthatcigar.com. And of course, as always, until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
Not bridges.
see you guys. Thanks.
Thanks everybody.